What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Going Rogue podcast. Friendly reminder that right now the registration is open for the 2026 Woodridge Farm Celtic Festival. You can find all the information for that on our Instagram, in the link in our bio, as well as on heavyathlete.com. So today we are chatting with Justin Blatnik. Justin runs Strength Empire Gym down in North Carolina and has been a pro Highland Games athlete for a couple of years now. We are rounding out our off-season series, which is pretty fitting, as the off-season should be concluding for most of you, if not outright done. So go check it out, see what kind of advice Justin has for how to deal with your off-season, how to fill that time, and we will catch you on the next one.
As I try to finish my milkshake, this is a perfect way to start your.
This is great audio and video if you just sit here and slurp a Chick-fil-A milkshake the whole time. Yeah, there you go.
Perfect way to start.
One of those really tight tops where you can just work it in. Yeah. I'm going to watch the graph for viewership on this one. It's going to start and
this tank
immediately. For once, the ad reads will be more popular than everything else that goes on.
Perfect. I'm here for you.
And I appreciate that. So, for anyone that doesn't know, it's Justin Blatnik, older brother to Garrett Blatnik. I'm just always going to link you two together anytime I talk to either of you.
I'm sure he gets the same.
Yeah, I'm sure. Wouldn't it be hilarious if he doesn't? If no one ever introduces him as your brother, it's all one-sided.
And so often it's, hey, this is Garrett's brother because, bigger, stronger, better looking, etc., more athletic. Yeah. Success follows. I follow the success.
We also, just like, God forbid, we work, or not work, neither of us are working, even though you're a pro, but we operate in the same area as Buck Buchanan. And if he's the announcer at your game and knows there's a way to get under your skin, he will just introduce you as such the entire time.
Justin Blatnik, the pizza guy. I'm like, nah, wrong one there, Buck.
Nope, wrong Blatnik.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. But we are continuing / wrapping up, because I don't have an off-season episode planned after this, the off-season series, which is fitting. People should be getting into preseason mode now.
Yep, you're right on. You're right on.
Because we're recording this at almost the end of January. I hopefully won't have a lag putting this one out. Should be out within a day or two. But we wanted to have you on because we wanted to talk side quest. Because while this isn't going to help people this offseason, because again, it's over, the offseason is a great time to take some of these things that me and the other people have talked about of rest and recovery, time off of throwing, changing up training modalities. And a way they can do all of that is side quest, be that strongman, be that powerlifting, stone lifting, some other endeavor that they want to go do. Definitely not like spend time with their family or, any of that stuff. That would be stupid. But work a lot of overtime, things that normal people do. But I wanted to have you on because you spent a good bit of your off season this year and the end of your season stone lifting.
Yep.
Right? Cool.
Yeah, it was a little bit different of a goal. And we'll get into a little bit more of what's the future, but I've always kind of been that way, right? I think part of it is just like my athletic background. Like if we go way back, like from like the time I was in like first grade, I was like a 3-sport athlete, right? So it was always being busy and doing something year round. And it's like you just shift your focus. I mean, even into high school, I finally dropped off. Well, even in the beginning of high school, I tried to teach myself how to throw. That went horribly. Look where we are now. And then
you really ended up on top.
Yeah, but it was football and wrestling, so when football ended, you jumped right into wrestling season. So it's like I always had something, and it always kind of steered training and steered the goal of that. So it's kind of the same thing it's evolved into now, and it's changed over the past 10 years, even so that even since I've really, even more than that, since I've really gotten the games, I've never just been just Highland Games. I've always felt like I've had something to have circled on the calendar to train for.
Which makes sense, because for those of you that don't know, you run Strength Empire Gym. And while I don't claim to be a businessman of any kind, I would think if you ran a gym solely based on Highland Games, you probably would have gone
Wouldn't
out of
exist.
business. Yeah, quite a while ago.
No one else has got that. No one's got there yet.
Yeah. I ran the numbers on how many actual athletes are in each state the other day,
Yeah,
and even if you recruited every athlete in the Highland Games
in the state.
in the state of North Carolina, you'd be having a tough time. Those
Yeah.
would be some expensive membership rates, you know.
Some expensive gas station, like gas bills for people getting to the. As I take my shirt off,
God, we got a nip slip.
heat kicked on in here.
5 minutes.
It's one of those in this podcast. No, the heat kicked on, man. It's been cold here for Charlotte.
The thermostat is that? Yeah.
Someone must have, but
yeah,
it's So yeah, I mean the gym. I've had the gym for 10 years-ish now, and it's got some people into the games. We've definitely had a handful that have seen me doing it and joined and jumped in, and which has been really cool and awesome to be able to teach some people. But yeah, it's being around the gym has definitely helped. Like I started my strength sport career in powerlifting back in college, so that's where I found the Highland Games was from that, and it's evolved since then. But it's still over the years. I mean, my third year in the games, I only did 2 games because I was trying to do big things in powerlifting, which never ended up happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say how'd that go, but yeah.
Bomb outs, bench shirts and bomb outs. There you go. That's a T-shirt.
Oh yeah, you're gonna make dozens of dollars on that one, bud.
So that's been kind of the goal the whole time, is always having something to train for. And I coach a lot of people and have over the years, and I've told them, I'm like, if I'm coaching you, what I want you to train for something, because somebody will show up to like the gym and they'll be like, they want you to coach them. And they're just like, I'm like, all right, so what's your goals? And they're like, I just want to get stronger. I'm like, well, how strong? Like, let's put some numbers to something, or let's give it a couple weeks, couple months, and then let's put numbers to paper. Like, all right, we want to hit these certain numbers. I'm like, if you don't want to do that, I want to lose weight is common too. Like as a personal trainer and coach, I want to lose weight. All right, well, how much? Or is there a number? Or no, I don't care about the scale. I want to fit in these clothes. And I still always direct them to like, all right, well, let's do a 5K. Let's do a Tough Mudder. Let's find something that gives them a drive and kind of a bigger purpose to train for. So it's something I've always pushed people towards, no matter what their endeavor is, whether it's strength sports or not, is having a reason. And then if you're not finding that, if whatever you're doing, if you're not having fun what you're doing, you're wasting your effing time, and go find something else to do. Like if you want to get into kayaking, if that's what it is, if that's going to get you in shape, by all means, go kayak your heart out.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point too, because I think one of the issues, and this is something that hasn't been an issue for me in the off season until the last few, but like I've found the longer I'm in the games, the less exciting the off season is.
Yeah,
right. Because it's less throwing. There's no competition a couple weeks out. So and I do need something to try and be prepared. It's hard for me with my limited attention ability anyway to realize that okay, the next 8 weeks, 12 weeks of training are for a thing that is 20 weeks away. Like that just it's hard to stay motivated through that, you know? So if you are doing what you're talking about and picking a thing to do in the meantime, just something, then congratulations. The intensity is probably going to be up on all your off-season workouts. You're actually going to be more structured. You're not going to skip. You're not going to, cheap out on that stuff. So it's a great way for people to just make sure they're getting the most out of those off-season workouts too, by having something that they're going and doing.
Yeah, my brother did it during COVID too. It was a really good time for him. My brother was through his best. I think we talk all the time, obviously. In like 2018 or 2019 was his best years throwing. He was also like 305, and he was like not the healthiest 305. And he was pushing it. And come COVID, with everything kind of shut down, he was like, man, I'm going to cut weight and do a powerlifting meet at 242. He may not have, I think he topped out around 305, but he might have sat like 290 to 300, something like that. He's like, I'm going to cut and try to do a powerlifting meet at 242. And I mean, it took him time to get there, and I did a long, it was COVID, so what better time to do it? And it really helped him physically, mentally, and also like he got in better physical condition, like health wise too. So like now he's come back up to, I don't know, probably 270, 280. I don't even know how. I mean, he looks like he's 320, but he put more muscle mass on his frame at the same body weight, and he's way healthier because he did that.
Yeah, the body composition of Garrett walking around now, for anyone that didn't know him in 2018, is different.
Be different.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense too from a physiological standpoint. Like when you are fatter, you put on fat better, even if you're trying to gain muscle. But when you're leaner, you have a better propensity to put muscle tissue on when you go through a gain phase. You're more likely to put on muscle than fat. So sometimes it's good to try to get as lean as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I always, to give everyone a throwback, like to back when Matt Vincent posted about the Highland Games, I loved his thing of everyone should spend a couple of years just trying to get as big by any means and as strong as they can,
Yep.
and then figure it out on the back end. I think that was always a really fun way to do it, of push the extreme needle in one direction just to see what you can do, but also like don't live there. Like he never said that second half. I mean, he's clearly done it because Matt Vincent weighs like, I don't know, 160 pounds now by looking at him or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, it do the extreme thing and then, know when to tone it back down. But
Yeah, we got a lot of time left to live. That's not going to be than just Highland Games.
yeah, but less time to live if you stick around at 310 pounds. There aren't a lot
Right.
of 70-year-olds walking around at that body weight, and there's a reason.
Well,
So
and in that, I'm not, yes, absolutely. Like you have to. It's like you can try to be smarter about it. So like I'll use myself like this past year when I went to Scotland, and we'll get into that. When I went to Scotland, when I got back, I said I'm gonna try to gain weight as much as I can. And the hard part is this
it's
job.
a milkshake. No,
It's the job. Hey, listen, I'm in a cut phase right now, dude, and I'm drinking a milkshake. So it's funny. I tried to gain, and the throws went a little better when I was a little heavier. And I didn't pick up anything massive. For me, it was the heaviest I'd ever seen on the scale. And then I dialed it back as soon as I got
what
last
was
game.
that number? I'm just curious as a friend of yours. I don't think anyone else.
254. A bloated 254.
Jesus, I saw 257 on the scale today, and I was like, man, this cut is going great.
That's the biggest I've ever been. And I mean, that's the thing is it was for me eating obnoxious. Like it was anything and everything I could, and drinking on top of it. I was drinking some extra
Dirty
beers here and
calories.
there. It was just trying to find anything and everything I could. Man, and we got into like the beginning of hunting season, so I was eating Hunt Brothers pizzas on the way home and Little Debbie's on the way there. I am not hiding it. I was eating everything, but still, I chase it down with Diet Coke. Or like a diet soda, so moderation.
The
But
lightweight in you is just never going to fully die.
I like to taste better. I'll hold that against anybody. I like diet soda taste or any diet soda tastes better. But like a week later, 10 pounds came off immediately, like without trying. Soon as I just changed it and dialed back to like normal, and then I do things a little differently than a lot of people. Like wintertime, most people bulk. I've tried the past couple winters, and I'm in the middle of it, is cut phase, which is not going to help me the most from a throwing perspective, but it does help me from a health perspective. It helps me for my career and my job, like being in a little bit better cardiovascular shape helps being a fireman. But also, I got it from Nate Burchett as well. As a long time ago, Nate told me, was like, man, I gained through the throwing year and then cut in the off season and gained through, so you don't have to think about it. And yeah, is summertime the best time to try to look your best for vanity's sake? Like, yeah, but. So I do it a good way. As my anniversary, I go on a trip to the Caribbean with my wife for my anniversary, and that's been my motivation to cut every year. So it still is like I have something to train for, and that is trying to look good when I'm in the Caribbean. Like, yeah, it's selfish. It's definitely exactly what I do.
But luckily for both of us, we're both ugly, so it doesn't matter if we're actually lean in the summertime.
I like what is it? Ridiculously good looking. That's what you mean.
Yeah. But yeah, I misspoke. But I'm glad I'm not alone in that, because that was what I don't remember if it was with the nutrition episode with Amarissa or the training one with Adrian. But I said the same thing. The summertime for us being the peak time of the sport is a time of, I don't want to watch what I'm eating. I am doing something every other weekend. I am traveling. I'm just going to eat.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about
and could I do a
anything.
better job of planning what I'm eating? Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah,
could. You don't get this body by doing a stellar job of looking at what's going in and out. But it is the time where I gain weight. Like, I get heavier, for
yeah.
sure.
And like you said, like, could I fuel my body better by gaining weight and with different foods? Like, yeah. Could I eat like beef and rice instead of a pizza? Like, yeah. I mean, obviously, I can eat
Yeah,
more
but
beef
Burger
and
King
just be
doesn't.
happy about it.
Yeah, Burger King doesn't sell that when I'm driving to a game out of state. So, stuff happens.
Yeah, it is. It's a way to take it mentally off your plate. And obviously, food is fuel. When you're training your hardest, you still have to fuel the machine, right? In some regard. Can you put cleaner fuel in it? Yeah, I mean, sure. But there is still a point of a calorie is a calorie. And some days you're just going to slam a box of Little Debbie's just because.
Yeah, I woke up in America, and if I want to enjoy an entire sleeve of Oreos, I'm gonna, you know?
I listen. What is it? Bert Kreischer says secret time. I may or may not have slammed an entire box of Little Debbie's yesterday. That's going great.
Speaking of Oreos, though, I still to this day, we had a very spirited discussion like 4 years ago at Hunt Camp about
Yeah.
normal versus double stuff Oreos, and the
Oh
theory is
yes.
held true. The theory of why people choose what they choose has overwhelmingly still been accurate. I ask people to this day what their preference is, and then based on that answer, I'm like, okay, do you dunk in milk or do you not? The numbers haven't. There have been a couple of outliers, but overall, the
All right.
trend is accurate.
I can help this discussion even more now. I'm more well versed in
Have
the
you
Oreo.
also been doing more research?
More, yes,
All
self inflicted research,
right.
and that is we got a Ninja Creamy. If you don't know what a Ninja Creamy is, it's a fancy ice cream maker blender. Great. I can take a protein shake, pour it in the thing, put it in the freezer overnight. The next day, you stick it in there and you hit like light ice cream, and it basically turns a protein shake into ice cream. It blends in some fancy blender thing. It's really freaking loud, but you can do mix-ins. Of course, you're doing mix-ins, and we buy the Oreo Thins, high cookie to cream ratio, to mix in the mix-ins.
Yeah,
So,
because you've already got a cream base that you're
yeah,
putting it into.
right?
So,
Like,
yeah,
so, yeah,
that
the
yeah.
cookie to milk, yeah, it still holds true.
And we'll see if my little AI software picks this out as a hotspot. The reigning theory is the people that prefer normal Oreos are the people that like to dunk their Oreos in milk because they got it right the first time. The people that prefer double stuff are just eating Oreos by themselves.
Yeah, I'm still in agreement.
It still makes sense because everyone gets so divided because you ask the question, hey, do you want normal or double stuffed? And then everyone wants to fight. And they don't realize that the reason they're answering that way is almost always because the double stuffed people don't want milk, even though it's milk's favorite cookie.
I will also say that if you haven't ventured out, you can venture out and try lots of different kinds of Oreos.
My child is literally whispering at me from the corner over here going, mint is better. And
Mint
I'm like,
is-
that's not the point. We're talking ratios right now.
It's gonna come
There
back
are-
though. It always is gonna come back to the original either cookie or double stuff Oreo. You're gonna try the others and you're like, you know what? It wasn't the same.
And those are the ones that divide everyone. No one's divided over whether or not the peanut butter ones are delicious. We know they are.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
that's
different.
fine. Now, some people do hate on a golden Oreo. Those people don't have enough joy in their life. I don't know why they have such visceral hate for a cookie, but that's their business. I will happily eat them in their stead, you know?
Yeah, I'll
But
take.
if you don't get cravings for the extra Oreos, you get cravings for either a normal Oreo or a double stuffed. You're in one of those two camps. Everything else is just auxiliary.
Yep,
It's not the same. All right, we've gotten horribly, horribly off track. But yeah,
it still fits.
yeah.
So
When I lie to myself about my kilt every year, it still fits.
So, good segue, as you mentioned it, and one of the things that I think off-season should be for is stepping away from some Highland games. And and this is, I have no secrets to hide. Like this year, I told myself my off-season I was going to push the needle way harder than I ever have. I wasn't going to drop intensity. I was going to keep throwing, and I was going to try that differently than instead of drop into this volume phase and stuff like that you typically do in off season. I was going to try, complete 180. That kind of happened, The throwing went out the window, honestly, because Highland game season happens to end perfect timing with what's called the rut when it comes to deer hunting. And dude, I think
I'm really sad that the Richmond games are gone, and now I'll just go hunt the first phase of the rut. Oh no!
it's the thing with, for me, I've gotten into deer hunting. I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago. It's such a great outlet for me. It's something that I know it's perfect in the background. I saw him when we started. I was like, "Yep, we're going to talk deer hunting," and it's something that's away from the games. Like you're able to shift your mental capacity, right? And put some focus in something else that is a challenge. It doesn't always have to be physical, unless you're hiking deep into the woods and then dragging a deer out. Then it's physical, but it's a standpoint
I
of
hunt private deer property. I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Me too. So it's a different mental capacity though. Like you can take some of that time for yourself, or you go hang out with different people, get to see different friends, do different things. There's absolutely time to do that. And what better time than the off season when you're not trying to schedule travel and all kinds of different stuff going on, and finding something that's a different outlet. If it's fishing, if it's riding a bike, like it's absolutely awesome. And yeah, definitely every day I was off in the fall. I think I made almost every day I was out hunting. So it'd be like work out in the morning, hunt in the evening, go to bed. Bye, wife. Got to go to work the next day.
Yeah, I was gonna say you still have a wife. I'm pretty sure, but yeah,
She does. She's there. She's there, and she's awesome. She supports me and lets me do literally whatever the hell I want. And it's pretty freaking sweet. I got a great one. So, aw.
But yeah, what a sweet. All right, podcast. That was too much niceness. We're just gonna before we say something stupid.
Yeah. We haven't yet.
Yeah, no, and that is great. No, and not terrible, but we have seen what color your areolas are. So it's a little column A, little column B.
There.
But
eye pool right there.
Yeah, we can just not even worry about a segue, and we can get into kind of the meat of why we had you come on, which is also to talk about stone lifting. Because not only is that a great thing for people to train for in the off season, I think it touches a large percentage of the population that are in Highland Games. It's just so closely tied. You're seeing more and more stone lifting competitions at Highland Games over here.
Yep.
I think as the years have gone by, it's always kind of been around, but I think in the last, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, 3 years, give or take, we've seen a lot more immediately adjacent to Highland Games at the same field on the same day. There's a stone lifting competition going on. It's always happened in some places, but I think it's just catching a lot more momentum.
Yeah, I would say that. I'd say stone lifting culture as a whole is catching more momentum. And it's probably why, and it works and carries over so well and pairs together so well from a venue standpoint, resources standpoint, et cetera. And so it definitely is come up and up.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand really well. It's kind of like a lot of people give some games crap for being at a Ren fair. And like, I get it that Ren fairs are kind of cheesy and stupid, but it tracks. It visually all works together. Is it historically accurate? Probably not. I don't know. But like
close enough.
Yeah, I don't know. If you don't think about it, it's fine. And that's how I've lived the last 34 years. So it's working out great. But so you probably around July or so ended up going over to Ireland, Scotland, both?
Just Scotland in August.
Just Scotland?
Yeah.
Okay. So you went over there and did, multiple historic stone lifts, right? Because, there's a whole section of your Instagram page right now where if I scroll through, you just hit this block in the middle where it's, lakes and castles and hills and you
and a thumbs up. I got to give you a thumbs up. All the guys at work give me shit about the thumbs up.
Well, they can take it up with Chad Clark.
Yeah, right. That's kind of where it comes from. So, but man, so kind of, piecing that together was if I go back, I told you I started kind of powerlifting. That's what got me into Highland Games was the people I powerlifted with. Throw out some names: Derek Wilcox, who's still throwing, and Travis Gardner, who's a retired, very short stint as a pro, but a freak. Those guys got me into it with our wonderful judge, Jeff Crouch, was my first teacher. And that got me into Highland Games, and then owning the gym and having the gym and just evolving from being I was a strength coach and then I was a personal trainer, owned the gym. I started dabbling. There was one year I did like 6 obstacle course races. There was another couple years, 2 years there.
I did 3 in 1 year. What is this whole? Why do we all do the
All in,
same
baby.
stuff before we?
You're either in or you're out. What is it? Don't half-ass anything, whole-ass everything. So yeah, we're going to do a bunch of these different races. Did them with people from the gym. Got into Olympic weightlifting competitively. I know there's a couple other guys. I know 9 Point Day podcast, Austin Rhodes competes in weightlifting. I know obviously Soroka I don't think competes specifically in weightlifting anymore, but coaches.
I think he's doing more of that hybrid thing. Was the last competition that I saw Tom do. Yeah.
So the weightlifting obviously, and I've always enjoyed the Olympic weightlifting. They're very technical, and I enjoy that aspect of it. Just like I tell people all the time, performing a full snatch at max effort in competition is equal, in my opinion, is equally as technical as benching in a bench shirt.
It's insane. I haven't done a Olympic weightlifting competition. I probably never will because I didn't actually start doing that with any level of intent until this last year. Jesus Christ. I'd rather go throw heavyweight.
Dude, it's crazy, and they're so technical, and there's so many newer throwers trying to get to them. And I've done some videos, and I'll do some more on it because it's such a good topic. And that is like, you only have so much training capital to spend on like your technique and time of trying to learn that. I'm like, you need to spend that time learning how to throw. So there's other variations and stuff you can get away with that'll benefit you compared to doing the full competitive variation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just hang clean all day long. Get explosive and get strong.
Yeah, you don't have to catch it. Just do a high pull. So
good enough. You've finished the explosive part of the movement. That's what we want out of it, at least for our sport. Congrats.
Yeah. And so, I went from weightlifting, and then it was COVID, which nobody knew what to do. And, obviously all this time I've been doing the Highland Games. And, I think it was 2015 or 2016 I really started taking it more serious. And then that changed again kind of in 2020, 2021, really 2021 when it kicked back up after COVID. And but even so, like even recently I've competed in grip sport. I competed in Moss wrestling at one point. Like I know somebody else has.
Again, why are we doing all that? I've also done grip sports. I'm still on a leaderboard for that. Yeah, we're all just the same person in different font. It's getting a little crazy, but yeah.
And then now got into some stone lifting, and the stone lifting was really an afterthought. And man, have I really fallen in love with it. I for the longest time, for a few years, I was trying. Well, money aside, money was a big part of things, like trying to make travel happen, and got to a point where I finally got to a point where I also wanted to, in theory, and there is no rule to be good enough to go to Scotland and compete in the Highland Games. I wanted to do it. I thought it'd be cool. If I'll be honest, I wanted to do the USA Scotland when they did it in Scotland. I wanted to be a good enough amateur to be selected on that team. Back when North-South was really a true thing, a true games.
Before Aaron killed it. Yeah.
Because those games are awesome. Travis did it back. It was like 2014, I think. Travis went, and lo and behold, Travis lifted the Denny's while he's there, and it's like that was honestly probably my first starting to knowing really what stone lifting was. Other than growing up watching World's Strongest Man on TV, I've always kind of had an affinity for strongman and also like stone lifting, just liking and think it's cool. Still to this day, I'll say top 3 greatest feat of strength ever seen was Mateusz Kieliszkowski at the Arnold one year, shouldered a 407 stone 4 times in 90 seconds, and no one else did it more than 2.
After everyone else was just dying, and half the guys no-repped it. I don't remember if they did like a staggered point thing, but half of them couldn't shoulder it at all.
Yep.
Like a couple of guys got 2, and then Mateusz just started, churning them out, and 4 pretty quick, clean reps.
Yeah. It blew me away, and so it came to all right, I wanted to go compete in Scotland, right? It was all right, I want to try to plan this trip. My wife loves travel. Let me try to figure this out and plan this. And then, planning that trip and saying, what, I'm going to do this. I said, well, if I'm going to go over there, I'd be awesome if I could try to lift the Denny stones.
Yeah, well, if I'm already traveling to the country that has all these things.
Right. And then it became the Denny Stones and the Inverstone. And then it became, well, there's a few more. And then it became, oh my gosh, there's a ton. And you can do it anywhere. And, some of them have different histories and stuff like that. And starting to dig into it was just like, it blew me away. I was like, this is awesome. So training, I kind of like, hey, there was once again, set the goal, train the Denny's, bought some pins to train on, and started working my way up. And another fun fact, to lift the Denny's, you've got to schedule this like well in advance. And I got super lucky thanks to Stevie Shanks. Stevie Shanks. Steve Jenks was a former strongman highland gamer out of North Carolina. Stevie Shanks, his dad Jack. I get the J and the S mixed up. He's kind of the keeper of them per se now. Him and Brett Nickel. I messaged Stevie and said, "Jesus."
You messaged him and said, "Jesus."
Jesus showed up. It's like the glass window gonna break in here, dude. It like sounded like something like a rock hit the window and it like it's creaking. That was crazy. Sorry. Where did I lost my train? So schedule. I was like, hey man, this is when I'm coming over. I'd love to try schedule. He's like, well, I can't get you because I wanted to say, screw it. I want to do Donald Denny Day, which is a stone lifting comp they do. And he was like, we're full up. He's like, but for some guys like yourself, the international travel, I can have you lift them the day of the Aboyne Highland Games if you're going to compete there. And that was one of the ones I was going to compete at. And I was like, sign me up, done. Like, I'm in. And that was kind of the start of the planning of this trip and trying to navigate the games to do and the stones to lift. And kind of the rest is history.
Yeah. And because when you say a lot of stones, you're not lying, because I just did a quick peruse, and thankfully you numbered them as you went. And I think you got up to stone 21 before you ended up at the games that had the Denny's, and you did the Denny, and it looks like another moving stone at the game.
That kind of is. So I'll just kind of correct you on it, I guess, a little bit. I think the official number.
Everyone else does.
Yeah. Let's fact check, because I'm a nerd. And for those on,
here's my stone spreadsheet.
It is a stone spreadsheet. I
have 1,000 spreadsheets devoted to the Highland Games too, so it's fine. I get
Yeah. So it was. Let's see. Technically, it depends. I think it was like 21 locations for stones. And it's like, it depends on how many stones you count. Like, do you count the Denny's as 2 stones because you lift them at the same time?
Look, you didn't share the Google sheet with me. All I have is your Instagram, and it stops counting after stone 21, the McGregor stone. All right, I have what I have.
Yeah, so that was my last one. So maybe it was 21 stones, and I probably would count the Denny's as 1 because it's 1 lift.
I'd count it as 1. If you were going to make an Instagram post and number it, I wouldn't say stone 22 and 23.
2 stones at the same time. No, so it ended up being a freaking awesome trip, man. We landed right after we landed, we picked up the rental car, and literally the first stop we drove straight and lifted the Bereaving Stone, which is the one that's it's in a graveyard. It's not far from the Inverness Airport. It was like a 30-minute ride maybe. And it's an amazing setting. There's no one there. It was peaceful and beautiful. One of the prettiest spots I lifted a stone. And shout out again to my wife, because I don't give her the credit. Everybody gives me a bunch of hell but she was such a trooper, videoed everything, followed, and she actually started to find it kind of cool as well herself. So if you're trying to convince your wife, here's your proof. Like, she thought it.
I don't have that problem, but yeah. If anyone
like an adult Easter egg hunt is really what it turned into be, right? Like trying to find where they all are, and there are some really, really good stone lifting websites out there. Now it's like there's one specifically there's like liftingstones.org, but the one for Scotland, Jamie McGregor, I've kind of found him semi after the fact. It's like Scottish Stones of Strength, so. Have all the locations, and like there's some maps now are putting, if you don't know what 3 words are, it's an app where you can get a GPS location within 3 meters of that spot. And it's based off of literally they plug in 3 words it's like a geographic grid of the entire planet. And they, but finding them is kind of like a little bit of like a Easter egg hunt, man, like trying to find where they're at. So that was kind of fun. She thought it was cool, like seeing how much I enjoyed lifting them. But it was trying to plan like your route out of what stones do you want to go lift in what locations, and then what days are you going to which towns to do these games, or you're going to go see this castle or sightsee this. Like, how can you make it all fit? And it just kept evolving as we kept looking at different where we're going. And it's like, oh, well, there's a stone on the way, or there's a stone 10 minutes out of the way. So, and I honestly still want to go back and lift more.
Yeah.
So,
well, luckily, there are also some stones around here because I got to be at least on the same property when you then PR'd your stone lift at Bill Crawford's house with his ridiculous driveway stone.
Yes, those were
amazing. That's unaware. Justin came back into a shed where I'm standing with, like, it's me, John Harding, I forget who else was out there.
Kendall, my brother.
Kendall was saying, yeah, and Garrett, and like you came in there and we were like, did you just do cocaine? Like, because you were entirely flushed,
jacked up.
Your eyes were incredibly dilated. We're like, what has been going on in some corner of Bill's house that we're all unaware of? But it turns out what it was is that Justin had just had the largest adrenaline surge known to man following a stone lift in Bill's driveway of a 355-pound stone?
Rumored to be 375, I guess.
Well, you wrote 385 on Instagram. Again.
Oh, there you go, 385. So 100. Yeah, so segueing into that one real quick, I definitely want to come back and talk about some of this stone lifting because I'm a nerd about it, and I just want to share some of the thoughts about like some of the stuff that people do. But Bill's house, man, Bill obviously has been a curator of strength sports and has some stones that one of the ones he had at the games that they did stone lifting at the Crystal Coast Highland Games was found up in the mountains by Steve Jenks, and Bill now takes care of it. And you know, it's one of those things like I get done with the day of Highland Games and I'm like, that stone was just sitting over there, and I'm just like, yeah, with the history of like Steve finding it, was a strongman through North Carolina Highland Games, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Not proprietor, but starter, you know, big starter of Highland Games and strongman in the Carolinas. Like, I got to go lift that stone. And then I get back and talking with Billy, and Billy's like, oh, we got some stones outside. Come check these out. And he's got one, they've got two of them, and one they call the Castle Stone because it's just like the Castle Menzies stone over in Scotland, which is super smooth, and so it's very hard to lift. And it's
308 pounds.
Yeah, Bill's is heavier.
Yep.
Bill's is heavier. The Castle Menzies stone's about 260-ish, give or take. So Bill's is heavier, and it took me 3 attempts to shoulder it.
Oh yeah, that was the one you actually shouldered at the game. Yeah.
No. So I shouldered Bill's stone. That's probably one of those other posts I did at the game.
It's a 260-pound stone, according to you, and that's at the game.
So that would have been Bill. Yeah, Bill's game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That was the one I was talking about at Steve. That was taken out of the Blue Ridge Mountain by Steve Jenks. Yep. But then it was the very next post is the Castle Stone. That one was like that is one of the coolest lifting stones probably in the United States, period, because the way it's shaped and how smooth it is. Obviously, I only post the one video of the make because it took 3 attempts. And then it was one of those like, well, since you did this one, come check out this one. And I was like, and I'm in flip-flops. And the comments on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all that's been hilarious. They're like, nice flip-flops. I was worried about the sidewalk. They have they called the Bluestone, and they think it's got some sort of like iron ore in it because they take a piece of rebar and they hit one stone and it sounds like a thud. Then you hit that one and it's got like a tink to it, like your metal on metal. But it's got really good handholds, and fortunately, my adrenaline rush and quite a few beers in flip-flops. Yeah, he said that I think I'm the 7th person to ever lift the Bluestone and the first to shoulder it. And my claim to fame and big thumbs up is he said Halfthor's actually been one of the guys to lift it. So take that.
What does that guy know?
Yeah, he doesn't know how to lift heavy things.
Yeah, he's never been on this podcast.
This one. Sorry for the cough. I'm still getting over the last little bit of the funk of getting sick. But, man, so I just want to jump back real quick, like talk about Scotland and then kind of direct you towards what's next. And, you know, going through, and I encourage anybody that's like in strength sport history, start looking up some of the like historic stuff around strength sports. Like learn about the history of the games. Maybe it's a specific games. Like learn about the history of that one games. Like I know the history of the Woodridge Highland Games, but any of
it's
these
really
other,
easy when there's only 2 years of it. It
I
makes it.
still know it, and I've been there for one of them. But if you go and look back at like some of the strength sport history and the ties we have to history, that's where stone lifting was the easiest one. Anybody can put weight and lift on a barbell, but you only can lift that one stone to connect you to those people in history. And so that's where like some of the ones like the Inver stone is really where Atlas stones came from. If you start really looking into it, it evolved into what's called the Galatian stones, and then into the Atlas stones we now have today. So it was like that was in top on my list to go lift. The Denny's were the history there. Really easy to remember. I'm number 369. So our generation can laugh at 6'9" instead of 6'7", and also 369, like a certain song.
Damn, she's fine. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. I'll never forget it.
Uh-huh.
But and a lot of things, what was really cool to like dig up is the history and all these different stones in the different places, and it's just like after doing this trip and talking to a couple of people. One, apparently, I'm a little of a bit of a psychopath for doing so many in one trip, because it was like 23 stones or something in 21 locations, or however you count them. That was like a little bit absurd, but it was just one of those things like, well, if I've lifted a 290, when I go do a 240, I could do it, right? Like in my head. And I've learned a lot about stone lifting from them. Like in theory, like I shouldered everything, and that's not the way to do it. To pass that along, like I can say like I'm wrong in that some of those stones were only meant to be lifted how they were lifted to protect the stone and protect the history. So, just lifting it to the chest, being polite and setting them back down, putting them in the right locations if they're moved. Just being attentive to that, like, is something that I want to make sure that I say, like, pass it on as people go try to lift these stones. Like, if they get broken, they're gone forever. So
Yeah, I do recall a lot of people, like, over the last year in some of those groups, just there's a lot of conversation routinely around, like, people that are out there dropping stones and doing all that, because once they're gone, they're gone. Part of the history of the Woodridge games are now that we broke the ever cool Massa open stone. So
yeah, that's a
ended.
sad day. Freaking sad
It
day.
was. I'm at least happy that it didn't happen via negligence.
Yeah, right. It happened on a throw. Like,
Perfectly normal throw. It was just its time. God decided that stone was now going to be 2 stones, and it is what it is,
yeah. We should get it like
So
bolted back. It should just get glue, JB Weld, and like a bolt through it back together.
I was a big fan of that. I also thought about, like, bronzing it and just putting it on a little wooden plaque. Just,
There you go. And now it's a trophy. Now it's a trophy for the years to come.
I thought about that, but then I was like, I wouldn't want to give that to anyone other than, like, Dave. Like, Dave has just kept that stone for so long. Like,
Well, it could be like, here,
great
it's
idea for anyone that wants to give Dave a present. Go have that rock bronzed.
the.
Give it to him.
It's like, now it's like, I mean, obviously they've been over the East Coast champions forever. This is the residual East Coast champion trophy. That's a good idea.
Yeah. You get to hold it and take a picture with it, and there we go.
Picture, and then maybe have your name on the little bottom piece, and But
yeah, I wonder if he'd let me have it, and I could do that with Woodridge and do that for the recurring trophy. Just have the broken stone.
yeah,
It was at the first year of the Blue Ridge Championship. Yeah. Yeah, you all have bad karma now for coming to this game. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Go forth.
But dude, stone lifting has been like it's fun as that exterior challenge, right? We talked about that kind of earlier, being it gives you something trained for differently. You have to be smart with it. You have to learn how to stone lift. From getting people that know what they're doing to teach you, because there's different ways to handle different stones, and every stone's different. That's also kind of part of the fun challenge. It may be the same weight or lighter, but it's harder because of XYZ. Apparently,
I haven't. Sorry, go ahead.
One of the stones I've got at the gym is like probably one of the hardest 200-pound stones. Just the way it's shaped and like how dense it is, it's very awkward to lift.
Yeah. For anyone that hasn't done it, like, I've dabbled with it. I did the Ohio stones the first year they had them at, like, the Ohio Scottish Games, and I did what was it, the It's not a loon stone. Whatever the one-handed one that No Fames
Lundstrom.
had at their game. Lundstrom stone. That's what I knew. It was an L, and I was like, it's not loon. It's something else northeasty. But yeah, the Lundstrom stone and a few others. And like stones are just such a weird, unique thing to try and approach. And if you're just stupid strong, you can get by with probably 80 to 85% of the lifting stones out there. But there are some that just, if you haven't trained for those particular stones, they're so unique. And that's part of what makes them so cool to a lot of people. You know, because like you said earlier, to compare them to a barbell, an Ohio power bar that I have is going to be incredibly similar to an Ohio power bar that you have. There's nothing special about going there and putting hands on that bar. But that stone and the way it has to be handled and where its center is and how it's laid out and all the little handholds and tricks and all that stuff, like you can't find that in another stone anywhere. It just isn't a thing.
Yeah, and that's where only so many people have lifted that stone. Like for the Denny's, unrecorded history, there's been a few more. There's like only 400 ever people to lift the Denny's, no straps, unassisted, right? And it's speak of adrenaline rush, I did them straddled, which is kind of most weight people do, where you kind of had a wide like sumo stance. I not one time did them like side by side. And that day, now I regret now not trying to walk with them, but that day I just like we were talking about. I was like, I kind of might just try it. Thanks to some smack talk from my man Travis Gardner, he's like, try it side by side because that's how he did it. And he's like he said, like a man. Well, I said, fine, I'll do it. And so it's not hard to get me to do something. But that's the stones are only lifted by certain people. Like the comparison in the draw to history is what's awesome to me. Even some of those stones in other stones in Scotland, like some of them now, and this is something like to also know about stone lifting in Scotland. A lot of stones are being placed in locations that are historic, or they're placed there for a reason. So they're not a historic stone, but they're adding them to the stone lifting maps to be stones to lift just because it's grown so much, which I think is awesome in itself, because that's like the Kilchurn stone is in the background is the castle across the lake, and it's cool as hell. But like part of the adventure is you're also going to be standing, like you have to walk through this like bog to get there. Your feet are going to be soaking wet. It was cold as hell when I went, raining, and it's like that experience kind of just makes it. And you're in this cool location, you can't beat it. So I think the future of stone lifting is definitely trending up and up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I see a lot more groups, and not even just in one area. You've got groups in New England now, and groups down south, and groups out west. At Canada, who was it? Josh Goldthorpe a few years ago, like put some stones out front of his house and like named them and weighed them and keeps a logbook.
Yep.
So it's cool to see that. Yeah.
Go ahead, son.
I was just gonna say it's cool to see that kind of being in other places now,
Yeah.
and people not being afraid to start that tradition up.
One of the best. There's a couple. If you want to find guys on Instagram, Travel Lifting Stones is one account.
Was it Sean Urquhart?
Sean Urquhart was the next one.
Yeah.
Sean, the Stones of Strength podcast specific to them, like that's on stone lifting. Sean has lifted stones. He is digging up stones in countries like Sweden's huge, the Faroe Islands, Japan or China, like all over there. The culture, the history is there. Martin Lee Sheets. Go ahead.
For the longest time, Sean would post those polls, and he's like, "Which stone is this?" And it'd be two things that you have never heard of in places you didn't even know had rocks that size, and you're like, "Sean, how am I supposed to guess?" Wait, you're the only person in the United States that knows what stone that is. What are you talking? But then he posts the poll, and now we all know. But it would crack me up every time because I'm like, how the fuck are we supposed to know what you're talking about? This doesn't make. But
it's been cool to see it grow in the U.S. Like you mentioned, like Ryan Stewart out in Utah, they've got the Utah Stones of Strength. Ohio's got some thanks to Sean, and the Beatty brothers are developing it there. You got the New England guys. There's a guy down in South Carolina that's got some stone lifting stuff growing up. And just about anywhere I go, on if I go do like a hike with the wife, like I'll try to find a rock to lift and then just try to name it and leave it somewhere and post GPS and be like, here's a stone to lift if you ever get here. To where I think I'd love to see this evolve to where I know I have a stone at the gym now. I called it the Stone of the Empire. But a stone lifting challenge, I'm going to keep a logbook of it. We're up to 7 people now who've lifted it. It's a 270-pound stone, and I say you can either shoulder it or lift it to the loading dock at the gym. I actually want to get one heavier. I want to get another natural stone. The hard part is sourcing a natural stone that's the right weight you want, and then carry it back, and you got to load it. So that's not easy.
I was going to say, honestly, the biggest pain in the ass is getting it into the truck and getting it to the gym once you find it.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to – the odds of you finding it next to a dolly on the side of the road are pretty low.
Very low.
Yeah. Some would say almost zero.
Yes.
But, yeah.
So I encourage people to want to get out and put a stone at your house or something like that, or have one at your gym that can become a challenge that people try to do. So if anybody is going to come to the Loch Norman Highland Games this year and want to swing to the opposite side of the city where my gym is from the games, go on down. The stone's behind the gym. Video yourself and send it to me, and I'll put you in the logbook. And I tell everybody that if I have a chance to see you, I'm going to share. Jeremy is timing out, so I'm going to keep talking. Now you're back on the opposite side, and your screen.
I got a phone call from some spam caller, and so it kicked me off briefly, but we're back.
But I was saying, if you want to come down, lift the stone, put it in. I'll put you in the logbook if you send me video. And I tell people I want to do a shot of bourbon, not maybe a shot, but just pour bourbon with anybody if they do it.
Full juice for the 20-year-olds, if they're going to show up, they get a little.
I won't check your ID. But
I don't work in your state. Do what you want, bud.
There you go. But I definitely want to add. Having people do that, and I want to see more people go. If you're driving through Charlotte, and it just so happens to be somehow on your way, which is probably slim, but might be a detour if you really like stone lifting enough. Come on by.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. I forgot that you were close to Loch Norman because I heard some rumblings about the Loch Norman game, and that is now on my potential list.
I'm about 40, 45 minutes. Depends on traffic.
If I'm already driving 5 hours, what's another 40,
Depends on which way you come in. It might be on your way. Well, for you, no.
If you'll let me set up the tent, I'll camp at the gym, and then I'll just go to the games afterward. But
sure, sleep on the gravel parking lot. Do all you want. I don't care.
It's a rooftop tent, brother. I'm just sleeping on top of my truck. It's great.
That's fine.
Yeah. But
well,
hell yeah.
I think one last. I feel like we've kind of wrapped up some stone lifting. So the thing I want to direct is the what's next. And I still am training. We talked about what I've done in the past, but what's coming up in the future. And the tickets aren't booked, but they're going to be bought probably this week to go to Iceland. So
nice. I remember you some rumors of you talking about planning that trip.
Yep.
And all that. So nice. There's a couple of rocks over there.
They're all way heavier though. Like I'm just like, really, like it's hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this man, it's like they're all heavier. Like Scotland, like the heaviest I lifted was 291 if you don't count the Denny's. I'm like, they're all the heavier than that in Iceland. And that's just like, man, it's not as many though.
Brother. So go get them.
The wife will be happy it's not as many. But
I'm sure she's not upset about going to Scotland and going to Iceland. Like it could be worse.
Yeah,
you could have a hobby that takes you somewhere absolutely terrible, and at least it's taking you to those places.
Like Iowa or something, yeah. Deer hunting, that's where I'd go. Different hobby. It's great in the Midwest where there's nothing else. Iceland is planned this year, and I've got to see if I can finagle my way there. Me and my wife have. She supported me for so many years. I've said, we'll try to do an international trip every year going forward now that we're just at a place that student loans no longer exist. For for us at least, we paid them off. That we want to do these international.
Everyone's student loans, just yours. Yeah.
Yeah, just mine. Sorry, don't have that kind of pull. But the whole idea is this: last year was Scotland, this year is Iceland, and hopefully the year after will be Spain to do the Basque stone lifting like they do in the Rogue documentaries, the Levantadores or Levantadores, however you pronounce it. I basically told my wife, I said, I want to try to do this stuff while I still can. Because I'm about to turn 37, so I'm like, I'm not going to be
the oldest man in the league. It's a miracle. No.
Yeah, I'm not going to really be able to get that much further, past 40, honestly. So I kind of want to try to do it while I can, honestly. So it's the goal. I just got to figure out how navigating the Spanish thing is a whole different ball game down the road.
It's a whole other ball of wax. But I mean, you can buy some meta glasses or something. They'll translate everything for you. I don't know. Mark Zuckerberg will love your business. But cool. So that's a great conclusion of what's next. If people want to find you, they've got Blatnik Strength on Instagram, right?
Yep, that's my personal.
And then you've got the YouTube setup, which is a great resource for Highland Games. Like you said, there's stuff for Olympic lifting, stone lifting, all of that. And if I'm not crazy, it's the Strength Empire channel, right?
Yeah. So I a long time ago, apparently you can get your account deleted from YouTube, and then magically it appeared back like a year and a half later after all the work you put into all your videos. But my personal is Blatnik Strength. I think on Instagram, TikTok, maybe, I don't know. And then Strength Empire Gym is on Instagram, and the YouTube is Strength Empire Gym. That's where I try to put the most. It's longer form content mostly up there, just because trying to teach somebody something in a 15-second to a minute clip is just not that conducive. But I try to give back as much as I can with how much people have trained me and taught me over the years, and trying to share the resources. I do my trainings like voiceovered because the music gets copyrighted and they hate it, and that's kind of the reason I might have lost my account. But stuff
Allegedly.
like that, some weird issues like that. I don't even remember what it was. It was some weird issue. I was like, I'm not doing anything. I don't make any money off of YouTube by any means. Nowhere close with the 7 views I get per video. But yeah, it's training footage and throwing footage and try to be educational as much as I can because just giving back when I've got all the help I have over the years.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I hope some people start tuning in a little bit more. Get you up to at least 9 or 10 views. That'd be good if you could crack
That'd be sweet.
double digits. That'd be pretty sweet. All right, buddy. Well, if nothing else, I'm sure I will see you at a game at some point around these southeasty parts.
Yeah.
So.
I'm trying to think of what the schedule's lining up for right now. Go to the Woodridge games if you have. You can sign up for the Woodridge games now. Bam!
Yeah, there will be an ad read I pipe in before this, but we can go out on that note too. No. Hey, look, the more the better. Everyone go do the Woodridge games. Love it.
Do more games. How about that?
And try to qualify for the Blue Ridge Championship. Do more games to try and qualify for that. It's the whole reason that I tried to start doing that. So,
throw a little bit more. Try to do 1 or 2 more than you did the year before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Till you get to about 20, you can't really do much more than that.
And then you got to start cutting back.
Then you just go to Scotland and throw like 5 times in 6 days. But no, I definitely encourage people do more games. Find people like Jeremy and find the guys that you like running their games. Support those guys for all they do. So Woodridge, I don't know about my work schedule that far out. I haven't looked quite yet because it was like planning kind of took precedence. To be honest.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I'm going to pick your brain about it in 2 seconds after I finish this record button while I've still got you.
Yeah.
And
All right. Well, Jeremy, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And y'all go check out all Jeremy's stuff, too.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you.